the WWF guys were larger than life movie stars, superheroes. We both watched NWA too. The NWA guys to me were like tough, real fighters and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, they're like really beating each other up. And the WWF guys were stars. It was two totally different worlds to me, but we
Agreed.
watched both. But yeah, man. I mean, all the guys who I've met over the years is crazy to like just name drop them. Say, oh, I'm cool with so and so. I know this one, that one, and they became like work friends and cool guys and stuff. But I grew up watching them. So did you. That's how we got into it. We got into it
Yeah,
because we were fans.
exactly. Exactly. You talk about the NWA, you talk about growing up a fan. Any good Dusty Rhodes stories from ECW? What was he like there? Was he ever sit under his learning tree?
Dusty was a class act, always a pleasure to be around. I actually got to know Dusty more in WWF, WWE as Simon than in ECW. When ECW came in, it's Dusty Rhodes, right? So, everybody does the Mount Rushmore thing and this and that. He's on it, obviously. A lot of guys bit from Dusty. They tried to. Big shout out to Cody. What he's doing is awesome. Cody was always a class act. Cool dude. Dustin was awesome. The whole Rhodes family was cool as hell. But Dusty was a guy. I guess my best Dusty story was when Dusty was working behind the scenes in creative. I remember doing some match on Velocity or something one time, and or Smack or Sunday Night Heat, whatever it was. And I remember coming in the back and Dusty putting it over. And I looked at him. I was like, Dusty, man, I would have loved back in the day, like Dusty being a bigger dude and all that. I'm like, man, Simon Dean versus Dusty would have been awesome. Dusty would have been great. And I said, we could have built a real feud, Dusty. I mean, me imaginary booking. And I said, we could have got to the Great American Bash. And then he looked at me and said, and then you would have taken the elbow, baby. And that would have been it. And I said, absolutely, Dusty. But it's Dusty Rhodes, right? Like I've been in the same room and know Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Hogan, Vince, all of them. Like these are legendary. Jerry Lawler. I don't want to leave anybody out, but like Sting, legendary human beings that I hope they live forever. But when they pass, whenever that time comes, like a piece of this is going with them. It just is, man. Like when we lost Vern Gagne, or like when the legendary promoters pass away. Like these guys, this is wrestling then and now. When these legendary pantheon guys, Terry Funk just passed away.
Yeah.
Like that's a piece of wrestling legacy that will never be duplicated. I don't care how good you are, what star match you had, whatever it is, you're not a part of the history of this like these guys were.
It's a part of our childhood. Like every time
Yeah,
something like this happens, I'm
that
like,
sucks, man.
it's a
Yeah,
part of my childhood.
Terry was awesome. I remember Terry Funk, and we did a show in ECW, did a pay-per-view at the Lakefront Center in Louisiana. But me and Meanie wrestled Danny and Roadkill, and really good match. At the end of it, I remember we're celebrating the ring, me and Meanie, and the angle called for Terry Funk to come out and attack us because he was like crazed. And I just remember in the back being like, man, here comes this dude who's like could be my grandfather, and he's gonna come in the ring. And like we didn't know what he was gonna do, and I'm like, he's gonna attack us. And if you go back and watch that, I remember me taking a bump and flying to the outside, and Meanie getting in there like getting beat up with a piece of table or something. But like it's just that's another thing, man. Like this generation of workers over the last 10, they never had a chance to be in the ring with Terry Funk. They'll never get a chance to be in the ring with Guerrero, Benoit, Malenko, Ray. If you're listening, just so many guys that they're never going to get to wrestle with or be around. And I know
Mike,
I said Benoit's name. I'm talking about it from a purely in-ring standpoint. Outside of it, it's a whole nother ballgame, man. I'm not a Chris fan at all anymore. I can't be. No sane human being could be. But in ring wise, it is what it is. But I had to throw his name out there because I was around him.